Hello everybody, I'm back and we're off to West Nab. It could be make and it could be break. It's either going to be absolutely great or it's going to be completely pants. We shall see. I don't know what it is about drivers around here, people, but they keep giving me funny looks. I mean, what's wrong with my face? So I'm going to apologise in advance. We are going to have some wind noise today. It's windy and I haven't got a muff. I've got another muff on order, but it won't be until Friday, and it's now Wednesday. I did make an improvised muff, but I've left that out. I didn't think it was going to be particularly good anyway. Holding a camera and jumping over a stile takes some style that I ain't got. So we're walking up West Nab again. The last video, I'll show you some clips. It was absolutely scuppered by the wind, and we didn't get the audio that we needed, primarily because I didn't have the wind slayer on the GoPro. Here's some clips. As this wind drops, we're going to get no shots at all. Hiding under the rocks here. West Nab is pretty famous around here near Huddersfield because settlements in and around the area date back to Neolithic times. Walking up to West Nab, which is the rocks up at the top, and back in the day, many thousands of years ago, this whole area was forest, and over the hill, over that hill there, is Manchester and Oldham, and that was swampland. It was a lot warmer than it is now back then, and the climate here was humid and hot, not exactly like, but a little bit like the rainforests in southern America. We're also on the flight path for Manchester Airport, so you will hear some aeroplanes flying over. Doesn't look very steep going up here, but it is. It's steep and boggy and full of peat, which is the remnants of the old forest. So we're going to take a hike up and hopefully get some more images. We got some quite good ones when we first came up here, but as I say, the audio was pants, and I know people want to hear at least sometimes what we're saying. So people who are interested in this, which is the wind slayer for the GoPro, I'm just going to show you the difference between having the wind slayer on and having it off. At this moment in time it's off, and now that's it with the wind slayer on, so hopefully it should have cut out 95% of that terrible wind noise. And this is what we didn't have when I came up here the other day, and that's why we're back up here again. No polarizer today, shooting directly into the sun. Now I do use a polarizer when shooting directly into the sun, when shooting backlit, because sometimes it takes the haze out, and I also shoot with a wide angle lens which has a field of view of about 120 degrees, and you do get some benefit, but I'm not putting it on today, and the main reason is that I don't want to lose any of the nice colours of the sunset. Whether or not we get any, we shall see. Composition wise, as you can see, I am very low down, sat on this rock, because that's the way I like to shoot, and I've got the rocks in the foreground here, which should hopefully make an interesting composition. Shooting at f16 at the moment, and we've got the histogram set, and press the button. And I've got to be careful shooting here because I keep putting my size 10 feet in the shot because it's a comfortable place to put my feet, but unfortunately when shooting with a really wide angle lens, very easy to get things into your shot at the front, so just be really careful, make sure everything's behind the camera. Now what I will say, it's blooming freezing up here, and as you know I just recovered from the flu, so I've got to be very, very careful. But looking out ahead now, what we can see is that the sun is starting to drop behind that cloud bank. And where are we looking? We're looking over towards Holme Moss, which is above Holme Firth, and over to the right hand side here, that's Manchester and Oldham. Got the soft grad on the front just to take some of the light out of the sky, so we can get some good exposure in the foreground. To be honest, my camera, or I should say the D800E, is so good at dynamic range that it's often not needed to put the soft grad on. Now, we were talking on the previous videos about different lenses. Obviously I've got the 16-35 on this camera at the moment. If I wanted to pull the background right in and so it looked a lot closer, then I wouldn't use the 16-35. I would maybe go to 70mm on the 24-70, or preferably I would go with the 70-200. When you use the 70-200, what it will do is it'll bring the background a lot closer to you, so it looks a lot nearer than it actually is. And that can sometimes be beneficial. It may be beneficial in this shot, but I want the rocks, and I want the composition here on the right hand side of the craggy rocks, so that's why I'm using my 16-35. And as also, you know, I love it. So to hedge my bets, I have dropped down now to f13. I'm going to cheat. I'm not going to cheat, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a picture of the rock, so I've got something in case I do need to focus blend when I get back into post-production. We've got the rocks in the very, very foreground, which if I just show you, that's the distance from the front of the lens, which is here, all the way around, is about 18 inches. So what I'm going to do is we are going to come to the front of the lens, and I'm going to take it off live view, and I'm actually going to look through the viewfinder because that's how I prefer to get things sharp. And then we are going to move the focus ring until this rock here right at the very front is as sharp as possible. Take a picture of that. So out of live view, I'll put that over here like this. I'm lying down and getting the rock as sharp as I possibly can. Oh, then back into live view. Check my histogram looks good, which it does. Take the shot. And now I will focus as I would before, which is just in the middle of just before infinity and 1.5 feet. So this is what I'm talking about. That's infinity, yeah, or past infinity. That focuses me sharp background. Oops, camera moved, but we'll move that back. That just there is sharp foreground, and all I'm going to do is move it in between the two. It's a tiny movement of the focus ring, and then we're good to go for the shot. And hopefully this shot should be good enough not to have to focus blend, but if not, we've hedged a bet. Cool, and that's the shot done. I want to see if we can get some movement in the clouds. I'm going to stick the 10 stop on, and we're going to go for a long exposure and see if we can get something a wee bit pretty. So we shall see. Word of warning, when you do use a 10 stop, make sure that you close the viewfinder. If you've got that facility on your camera, I have. If you haven't, cover it over with the glove or something, because what will happen is light will come in through the viewfinder itself and spoil your image. So I've just took a 30-second exposure and it's underexposed. but not too much. Okay, I always like to do that. I know that you can use apps, but I like to get a feel for where I need to be with the exposure when using my 10 stop. So we're going to go to bulb mode, and then we play it by ear. So I'm looking at around 45 to 50 seconds for this. So that's off and running now with the cable release, and we'll see what image we get at 45 seconds, and then we'll go from there. 45 seconds was a wee bit underexposed. I'm going to give it another 15 seconds and hopefully we should have that spot on. But don't forget, as I'm talking to you, the light is changing and it's decreasing rapidly. So you can often find that you're chasing your tail a little bit, and that's why the apps are all well and good, but out in the field sometimes you just have to play it and go by feel rather than what an app tells you. That's the same with anything, isn't it? We're up to 2.5 minutes at the moment. This is going to be the last one I'm doing because it's freezing cold. One of my gloves has blown away. I'm just going to go and retrieve that. The wind has beaten me. It's freezing, absolutely freezing. So unfortunately the sunset's getting better. Oh dear. Oh, well, I've just done there, and I do apologise because you've not seen it, but as I packed up, I did mention when I was finding my glove that the sunset was getting better and better and better. So what I did is, even though I am cold, I went and got a couple of more shots of the beautiful magenta skyline, and I'll show you the images in a minute, but I really couldn't leave without getting a couple of pictures. But it was changing that rapidly that I didn't video me getting the images, but here they are. So guess where I'm going? I'm going home for a cup of tea and a bacon butty. Bye! Can't see me? No. That's because it's almost pitch black. Tip of the day, or tip of the evening, bring a head torch. Yeah.